So let's talk about how to offend a man, like really offend a man. You could say you're not man enough, or you could say men are trash. This could be really offensive. Um, as a man, men are trash quite good. But if you were to offend female women, what can you say to offend them? Go back to the kitchen is quite the usual one, but I think they're really gonna put down, gonna be like women belong everywhere, including toilet. They will be really to women because it's quite offensive. And what about transgender? You can call them sir, and that's gonna be offensive. Transgender, non-binary people, he, she, this kind of offensive. I'm not non-binary. I'm a man. There's certain things that I find too much that I feel violence. I probably, because you probably say, oh, you shouldn't feel that because you should be nice. People sometimes they have a way to press your button, that way to do it. Like when Clementine Ford tweeted out back when she was on Twitter, K Omen. I'm not gonna say all that because last time I did that, the YouTube said I was putting a hate speech. So if you know Clementine Ford, you know what it is. And so after I saw her tweet like that, I decided to go and say, Clementine Ford farts, a feminist fart with compassion and kindness. And the funny thing is, she reported to Twitter and they said it's offensive tweet. A feminist associate of Clementine also framed me. She said I was harassing her when I just wanted to talk about men and equality. Her name's Emraz. She goes by Feminist Next Door. After she framed me, I tweeted a fight a feminist, fight with compassion and kindness. And I know you're probably thinking, am I hating on feminists? Feminism is not about equality. Feminism is about female. They are sure they have a place on a society, but feminism is not about equality. Equalism is equality. In other words, what Clementine Ford did and what Emraz did is not about equality or about women. It's about bullying. Because they're manipulative. They just say, when Clementine Ford went on TV, she says it's a joke. But as a joke, I say Clementine Ford fought like feminist, fought with compassion and kindness. And of course she was offended. Because she's a feminist, but not also a feminist, she's misandrist. Misandrist is something that you don't hear often. In fact, you don't hear it at all. Because misandrist is hatred of men. The opposite of misogynist. When misogynists happen, the media writes about it. But when misandrists happen, they don't write about it. By extension, misandrists never happen. It's never real. It's not the thing. So, what's the joke here? You're not man enough, or men are trash. My argument would be women are trash, and this is unfair thing to say. But it's also come out from anger because the thing is, I do think there are good feminists like Gal Gadot, Jessica Chastain, Brit Manning, and Emma Watson. They are good feminists, but they are also bad feminists. They are cunningness feminists. They are shitty feminists. The same that they are human. And to offend one person is to offend all because they are feminists. But are they really real feminists? And there's always argument on that thing because argument is something we do as humans. We argue. And so to offend is to try to change when it comes to men and women, we most part different physically. And now I'm not going to talk about transgender because I don't want to talk about something that it's gonna be controversial, because I think most of us understand that some of us understand that people involve progress, but with men and women, which is the topic of discussion today, you can say men and women are different to each someone. Like, one thing that bothers me is when a doctor or a psychologist say, if you're a boy and you play with girls' toys, you're transgender, or vice versa. When I was younger, I cross-dressed, I played with Barbie dolls, I hated sport, and I like boys. I'm glad I wasn't born to today's society, because they might push me into transition, because I questioned my body to at one point, and I was like, am I gonna go breast? But luckily I was born in the 90s, so things were good for me. But that's the thing about gender or society or joke. I don't know if this time humor's funny. There's no one here to like, oh, you're so funny, you should have got comedy. And ultimately, because when there's some sayings to someone, you're not man enough, like, I think there are some sort of driving lane who tend to call soft boys soy boy, like they let you insult. But that's interesting, because people like to insult other people, but they don't want to be insulted all the time. People don't treat others the way they want to be treated. They want to kick people. It's like that in that scene in Succession where Tom let employee go on the floor, and he put his knees on top of that employee. It's like people want to treat other people like slaves. Wow, it's not accepting that you are terrible people, because people want to be treated like a king and queen, while treat others poorly. It just want power, nothing more. And it just means that if you think a man or a woman or a non-binary person or a transgender person is a good person, then you should treat them as such. But if you know that they are a shitty person, be a reason for them to change. Not treat them shittier, but be a reason for them to change. And that's something that they were taught. Because you don't treat bully lower than you, but you need to give them a reason to change. So my arch name is Clementine Ford. What I really want from her is just apologize for saying kill men. That's all I want. Just a personal apologize. Not on camera, not on email, not on media, just a personal apologize. Because when you're in position of public speaking and you use as a platform to bully someone else, you're not a good person. But she's a good person. She's a beacon of hope. The reason is simply, there's a reason why she's terrible. She wants to use media to promote her books because she's a writer. And to do that, she needs to be relevant as possible, as much as possible, by talking about some other people in terrible way, knowing that the media ABC gonna come to her aid. ABC actually eats up. That's a power move Clementine Ford has. But of course, I can't just make joke about Clementine Ford fought like a feminist fought with compassion and kindness, because YouTube would ban it. I think it would happen.